On this video, I wanted to go ahead and conclude it with showing you how to add a bobber stop. So we're going to use a general bobber stop here that I picked up from Bass Pro. As I focus on this, you can see there's a little loop on the end. We'll use this loop to thread our line. Now on this line that I'll be using for visibility purposes, I'll be using a 65-pound braided line. What you want to do is put the end of the line through the loop, and it's very small, just take your time with it. It might fight you when you're using smaller monoline or fluorocarbon, but you want to run it through at least about maybe 7 to 8 inches. Now you're going to go ahead and moisten that line. Once you moisten the line, to make sure the bobber stop slides on easily, give it enough tension, that way you can slide on with a little bit more ease. Again, adding a little bit more moisture onto the line will help you slide it over. Go ahead and pinch that line and pull the bobber stop end with the line end, and you want to go ahead and slide it all the way through. As you get closer towards the end, you can go ahead and moisten the line just a little bit more and pull that all the way through until it finally pops off. So one of the last things I like to go over is an important factor when it comes to setting up these worms is my favorite knot. I like to use a polymer knot. Again, I'll be using the braided line for visibility. What you want to do with the polymer knot is go ahead and thread it through the hook. This is after you put the bobber stop and the weight on in the previous video. Go ahead and reinsert the tip of the line back into the loop of the hook you just came through. And what you want to do is go ahead and do an underhand knot. Now again, when you're using lighter pound tests, it is kind of tricky for visibility, so if those you need glasses, you might want to put them on, just because as you're out in the outdoors, this thing can be pretty hard to visually see when you're in the sun. I like to set up mine at home. Again, so once you set up your overhand knot, you're going to go ahead and bring that right through and just give it just enough slack on the end knot like this. And what you want to do is go ahead and drive that last loom, that last little loop, right over the hook with your bait if it's on there. Slide it all the way to the very end. Now at this point, what I like to do is just hold that loom just in case so it doesn't pinch. And it's a good thing to go ahead and moisten the line at this point too, to help you bring it in a little bit easier. And then this will be the close-up shot of what the final knot will look like. I highly suggest that if you're going to be using fluorocarbon, please moisten your line, because the tension and heat from that will go ahead and cause that line to fray. After you're done setting the knot, go ahead and clip off the tag end, leaving it about a 1/16 of an inch. Go ahead and bring in your favorite type of worm. On this one, I'm using the Gary Yamamoto worm with the baby bass color. Thread it back through just like in the very first video that I uploaded. You want to go ahead and bring it up all the way to the end. Again, not all the way through to where it pops off, but just enough to where it hides that end of the hook. And go ahead and bring the meaty part of the worm into the sharp side of the hook. Go ahead and thread that right through and make sure you just skin hook it, just giving it enough exposure so that way if a bass does go ahead and bite on it, you'll be able to make sure you detect that bite and set the hook. Now for the final pieces, we have the rigged worm. We're going to go ahead and slide the weight down all the way to the very bottom. That way we can send our worm a lot faster down to the bottom. And just to make sure that our worm descends at a lot higher speed, we're going to go ahead and slide down the bobber stop. Now again, the purpose of the bobber stop is to make sure that when the weight is falling gradually faster than the worm's free fall, it will bring the worm down quicker than the normal descent. Usually without a bobber stop, the worm will actually fly down a little bit offset compared to the weight, but your end product will be something like this. And that should cover it for how to set up the pegged weighted worm with the 4/0 hook. I'll add this into the comment sections for the details if you want to go ahead and order any of these. They're highly effective for fishing into deeper waters. Stay tuned for tomorrow where I'll go ahead and upload how to set up a worm as a wacky rig setup. And another secret that I have is for working with shaky heads. I can show you a nice little deadly combo that helped me catch my PB at Lake Hennessy when I was using a fluke with a shaky head. If you like this video and you think it's useful for someone who's just getting into bass fishing, please go ahead and share, subscribe, and leave a comment and possibly a like. I'm always open to listen to suggestions from the commenters and the people who actually view this. If you feel it's useful, please let me know. If not, you would like to see some improvements. I'm actually considering on going ahead and taking my GoPro and putting these actions to work and showing you what this thing looks like underwater at the next time I head out to the lake. I want to thank you again for stopping by and watching this video. I highly appreciate it. And again, this is just me giving efforts to give back to the community that's taught me so much. And good luck to you guys out there in your future fishing endeavors. And remember, tight lines.